We gotta vote between us two.
Okay.
Who do we think would be the most likely to get arrested? I want us to take a second to think and then say it on the count of 3. I'm gonna think. I just want to say excluding things that people shouldn't be arrested for, like medicinal things. So that's fair and even.
Okay.
Alright, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
1,
2,
3. Yo, it's Sean, aka SJ, back again with another video. And today I got my best friend here with me. Yo, this is my boy Josh.
Hey, what's up everybody? Josh here.
Joshdelaghetto on this.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Joshdelaghetto.
There we go, I'll put it right here.
Somewhere magically.
And then I'll put it in the description so y'all can go and look my boy up. But today is our shot day. It just fell on the same day, so we were like, let's get together and do our shot. And it's also my first time doing my shot at home, so it's a great day.
Woo!
So, but before we get started, we're gonna start talking about a little bit about us and our friendship and like how we met and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So
we have some questions we're gonna answer, and the first one that we have is, how did we meet?
Yeah.
And so Sean's gonna take that over.
Alright, so we met in high school. I was a freshman, he was a sophomore, and it was lunchtime. So, I came in the lunchroom. We had 2 separate lunchrooms for the freshman and sophomore, and then juniors and seniors on one side. So I come in with my little tray, walking into our side of the lunchroom, and then I hear somebody like, yo! And it was Josh. And I'm like, yeah? He's like, you gay? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, alright. And that was it. Like, that was it.
I feel like there has to be more to this.
There's no more to that story.
One thing I will say is that I definitely was someone who wanted to know when people were coming into my school, like if they were queer or gay or lesbian or trans or anything in the community. Because I was like, I came in and it was just like I got shitted on there. It was like before I even knew I was even a part of the community, it was so many assumptions. And so I felt like I never wanted someone to come in and feel like they were put in places that they weren't meant to be, or they were, whatever. And I knew that when talking to like other people, they'd be like, hey, there's this person that looks, masculine, or there's this person that looks gay, or whatever language people were using at that time. And I knew I had to find them, and I found him.
Word.
And it's been amazing ever since.
No, definitely. That was like a start of our friendship. But he had other motives, more of like a mentor for me, and like a big bro. But I didn't know because I'm just like, what the fuck? I was confused. But it was all cool.
Yeah, I think we both obviously grew up together. When you're 13, 14, 15. You don't really know much about the world. You kind of like just are like taking everything in. And so I think it's interesting to watch each other kind of see how we grow, filter things out, challenge each other to be better.
Right.
Especially I think now, like, it's 10 years later maybe, I want to say.
Definitely 10 years. I was 14 when I was in high school.
Yeah.
And so you were like 15?
Yeah, 15, yeah.
Yeah. And now we're 24 and
I'm going to be 26 this year, which is crazy.
10 years.
But hey, yeah. And so the next thing I want to talk about, because I think it's really cool that we were able to gravitate to each other and obviously find each other.
Yep.
But one thing that comes to mind is the fact that we both are folks who identify as transmasculine now, and we both went to an all-girls high school. That is how we met.
I actually don't think I ever mentioned that, but yes, I went to an all-girls high school.
Yeah. And that's a crazy dynamic.
Definitely is.
How did that feel for you? Like,
I don't know. I mean, going into all girls high school, I didn't really like know myself at the time either. So it was just like, okay, I'm gonna be around all these girls. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. But as you start growing up and getting to know yourself, you're like, these girls are way different than me. Like, they like girly things and boys, and like they gossip a lot. So it was just like it was really different for me because like in high school I never had like a group. I just was bouncing around.
Same.
And I just didn't stick to one set of like people, you know?
Yeah.
So it was just really different. I couldn't figure out where I wanted to like what group I wanted to be in or like around what certain people. So we kind of his class came with like the gay table. And that's where the LGBT table, and everyone was just there, and that was like my main group in high school. Same. So it was good for me to find a group of people that were like me, basically. Yeah. I do think our high school experience was a lot different because I feel like people like more accepted me in a way, and they didn't kind of care about like what I had going on in my life, and they were like more accepting of me and like me and my like at the time I identified as like I didn't identify as anything. I just kind of told people I like girls, and so everybody just put you in the category of like a lesbian or a stud or AG or whatever. So it was just really different. Everyone was like fine with what I was doing, but Josh had a different experience in high school than I did. So
high school, I think I just want to say too, like I don't want to take away from the fact that you've also had your experiences in high school that weren't great too, because I think there was similar staff or similar people that we both had awkward conversations with, or awkward moments where it felt like it was fueled by more than just like wanting to be, you know, educated or a better student. Definitely felt, at least I can say, like a phobia, you know, because being in a school that is under like an organized religion, there's this idea of who is supposed to be there, right? A lot of us were just trying to find ourselves, and we're put under so much pressure. And then I know like I had to deal a lot, like my freshman year, I got punched in the face for being out. You know, I think the first few weeks it was really hard because people kept telling me what I was. And it's funny because I had a rainbow bracelet, but the reason why I actually wore that was because my cousin took me to the village, and I wore that because of the fact that she bought that for me, not because I knew my identity. I just knew that I love the feeling of that neighborhood, and that was something that threw me under the fire, where my parents had to come in for me wearing that bracelet. When I got punched in the face, it was really shocking because it was by someone who called themselves a friend of mine. And in that moment, I remember I walked away. I didn't resort to violence. I didn't say anything. It worked out for me because I didn't get expelled, and I had the option to expel this person, and I didn't, because I just didn't feel like I needed to, you know, react with revenge and have someone's whole future in a school demolished because of that. So I let it be, and months later she had a crush on me. So life is crazy. But I think, navigating high school was weird because I felt like, you know, I was obviously outward masculine, but I think it was just the idea that maybe people had an attraction to me as a friend, or even more than that, and because of that,
pretty chill guy. He's like so easy to talk to.
But it ruins people's lives. There was a point where people wouldn't walk with me down the hall because they were like, "Oh, he's dating her." Yeah. You know, and it made it hard. There was the first week of high school, I ate lunch in the bathroom in the stalls. You know. It was hard, but I met the right people, and things really did work out. Right. You know, and obviously meeting Sean and having more conversations with each other and being each other's backbone, living so close to each other, we really had a lot of time to talk and get to know each other and how to respect each other and go on a lot of crazy ass journeys together.
For real, on night bike rides and everything. It was just, we had such a great time in high school. Just like living so close. Always had someone to go to. Like I was having a bad time at home, and I would just hit up Josh like, yo,
or vice versa.
Chill?
Like,
so it's always great to have like a friend that just lives that close, and
knowing each other's family too. I mean, like we both have met each other's families. We both, I think like have seen each other's families in really great ways. Like, you know, when you have your friends over or something, like they're like, oh, your mom's great, or your father's great, or your brother or sister, anyone in your house is great. Right. And you're just like, you don't kind of know the half of it. Like, it's great that you think that. Please think that. But there's this other side to it, and I think we was always each other's support. And
we got to see each other's both sides of our families. So
yeah,
I think that helped our friendship get closer too, because we knew like the history and everything that went on in each other's lives. So
and our family also both had to, I won't say had to, but they both went through and are going through our transitions. Like your parents knew me as my birth name, and had met me when I was super young. Had met me, came to like graduation, and like I've been to their barbecues, our houses just to chill out, and same. And like my family also, like I've been talking to them recently and making sure that they're calling you Sean or SJ and making sure that they use he. And it is also a journey in itself, but they've been great in picking up with it and being happy for you and things like that.
Oh, that's awesome. I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's the first time we see each other in a while, so we have a lot to catch up on.
Yeah, for real. So, question I had for Joshua, kind of question we had for each other, we're just going to kind of talk about how our families took our news about transitioning and, our similarities or our differences in each other,
Yeah.
So, how did your family kind of take your transition?
What the fuck?
Okay, so I
started. You were like, all right, I got it, bro.
I was like, I'm gonna ask the question and
see what I deal with.
I got
that. I'm kidding.
All right, no, but I'll start. No problem. So my family, I made a video about this, but you guys can go check it out. But I'll talk about it again.
Watch all of them, like all of them. Please subscribe,
like, comment, share, all
everything.
That. But yeah. So my family, it was definitely hard for them. They were not happy with the news at all. They did not want me to do like anything. They didn't want me to transition. They were just kind of like, you like girls, that's cool, that's good enough for me. Don't do anything else because I don't want you to be like trans. I don't want you to change your gender, basically. But as conversation kept going in my family and things, I realized they were more scared about me transitioning rather than just not wanting me to transition at all, because they knew I would feel more comfortable, and this is something that I really like wholeheartedly wanted to do and like felt in my life. Like that was my identity. It is my identity. It's just who I am, and I was gonna go do the necessary procedures to like bring out myself, you know what I'm saying? So but I found out they were just scared because of like society and things that's going on in the world. It's just like a lot of trans folk are dying just from being who they are. So my mom took it very hard, and she just was like, no, like I don't want you to do this, and if you're gonna do this, you gotta leave my house, things like that. So that's where I am. I'm here now. You guys haven't seen this side of my house,
and I just want to say,
so dope.
This motherfucking man did the most self-made thing ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, people talk a lot, people say what they're gonna do, and this person actually manifested it. To have your own home, to have your own space, to be told maybe certain things negative or not given the most things when you needed it, most positive things. You made it fucking happen.
That's right.
I'm sorry I curse so much, but I'm passionate. Okay,
it's cool.
I'm proud.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I feel like I didn't. No, I'm kidding. No, I didn't.
I made sure I got like this apartment to become, myself and live my truth and do what I needed to do. So here I am. Like not even a year later.
Hello,
I was
man.
All right, if that's what you think and that's how you feel, I'm out.
Yeah, and it took a lot.
It definitely did take a lot. It
wasn't like a 1, 2, 3. There was a lot of...
it was a lot of like heartache and like depression and just kind of staying to myself. And some days it was like emotional roller coaster. One day my mom was like, you know what? Yeah, go through with your transition, and I know it's gonna make you happy, and all these things. One day she was just totally on board, and then the next day it was like, no, I'm not feeling it. I don't think you should do that, and it's not the right thing to do. And then the next day it was like, okay. So like once I moved into my apartment, she kind of was just like seeing that I was so like serious about it and passionate, and I was just like, I have to be me. Like I can't have anybody hold me back anymore. Once I came out to my family, I was just like, this is it. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, So once she saw that, it was just like, all right, I see, I accept it, I'm okay. we're still not on a basis where they use Sean as my name. They still kind of go with my birth name, but we're working on that. It all takes time. My transition is also a transition for my family because growing up, they saw this one person who they thought was like gonna grow up to have kids and like be with maybe a man or whatever, but it kind of like, I guess it flips for them. So you have to kind of be patient with your family, and that's something I'm just trying to take into consideration because they are also transitioning with you. So
I feel like with my family, it's been something that has kind of like just been like known, but not, I guess, to like further extents. I feel like a lot of the times, because of different like controversies or stigmas that people create, people, at least in my life, kind of only knew about trans women in this like really negative light, and because of the world's view and how they portray trans women, especially of color. And I think that when I had different parts of my life where I was trying to come out as trans or trying to talk to my family, it felt really difficult, especially because I knew that I held the trans identity at the age of 15. And I had gone to this youth programming that I'd went to a summer camp that they do specifically for queer youth to kind of just be in the woods, explore themselves, and just figure out who they are. And Sean has also been in a different year down the line. And when I was there, I had a lot of time to think about my comfortability and all these things and learning about the community. And I knew I truly connected. But there was a lot of things that I couldn't kind of understand how to bear. Like, my mother or my family is of African descent. I'm a first generation American in this country. And in some countries in Africa, it is illegal, and I believe in one country punishable by death. So I always felt like I didn't really know what would be okay or not. And my grandmother was like a huge supporter of a lot of queer things. Like, she loved Ellen, as mainstream America does.
Who doesn't?
And she also like would watch Noah's Ark or Queer as Folk or The L Word, and she wouldn't let me watch necessarily all that, but she would let me watch these things, and I knew that in some ways there was this comfort, but I didn't know if it would be okay because I was her grandchild. But when it came to kind of having the conversation of like using Josh, using he, it was very difficult. It took years to get them to be on a daily point of like, saying it. And the thing is, I was also very annoying at that age, and I kind of forced it to the point where I was kind of feeling like I was this rebel in my house. So every time I left this room, I knew I was gonna have to deal with not hearing he, not hearing Josh, and knowing that they knew I didn't like it.
Right.
And so me being very frustrated, causing a lot of fights because I felt validated, and then them fighting like, I don't get it. And as time went on, it just became a thing that was just like, okay, this is what he's saying. I wasn't really getting he as much, but Josh. So it was always like, Josh, she's over there. Josh, are you in the kitchen? I need you to do this for me so you could put on this dress so I could see how it looks. So it was like this weird disconnect of like, it's not just the name.
Yeah.
It's further and deeper than that. But I was still at home and very lucky. But then when it came to starting hormones, that was a whole entirely different story. Like I said, I was someone who was very vocal. I had, every time I made any decision, I like knew like, if this is a time that I'm gonna be kicked out on the street or homeless, I'm okay. I have a backpack, what I need. I have great friends who will always find a way to help me out, and if they can't, I will have to do it some way, but I'll be fine. And I remember saying that to my mother, and she thought I was insane for saying that. When I was starting testosterone, it was a very much like different time. It was right when laws were changing. So if you wanted hormones, you had to wait. You had to wait, and I had to wait 9 months. And so she had time, but it didn't make it any better when the day finally approached. When the day approached, it was like a bomb in my house had been let off. I had a conversation the night before with my friend, and he was just like, if this isn't for you, don't do it. And it was just more like I was nervous and I need someone to talk me off the ledge. Not like, hey, don't do this, because it was something I wanted. And it felt like, damn, like everything is saying no.
Yeah.
Everything around me is like, no.
And then I don't mean to cut you off, but then you kind of just get like, damn, well, maybe I shouldn't do this. Or because everyone's so against it, like, maybe I shouldn't do this because everyone's just going to disown me or no one's going to talk to me anymore. I like, may get kicked out and things like that. So it's so hard when you're just starting to transition.
And when the day came, I told my mother, she teared me to pieces, and she said a lot of things that I won't get into, details, but a lot of things that were harsh and made me feel like, okay, like maybe
am I your child? Like,
like maybe this isn't it.
Yeah.
And my father actually stopped talking to me for 4 months, and it's one thing if you are not talking to someone, and you just don't see them, but to live in the same household. To see them every day, to be at the dinner table that you don't want to be at, and know that like even like the words like "Can you pass the water?" won't happen. Because of that, it was really intense, and it's very funny because of the fact that when you look at now where I'm at, we're the best of friends. They have no slip ups. There's no accidents. I have 2 younger brothers. Completely call me Josh. We have not talked about me being trans or my gender, but it was really, really hard. And
yeah, I remember.
Long story short, because it's very long, things did turn out for the better.
Yeah, I feel like it always turns out for the better. It just definitely takes time. You got to kind of get everyone ready.
And I think better means different things, sometimes better can mean you're in a better place with your family, and sometimes you have to cut your family off so you can be in a better place.
If you have to cut them off, just cut them off, because not everybody's meant to be in your life. Even though they are family, not every family member is like really there for you to begin with. So it's just like, if you don't need them, then they gotta go. And that's just how I feel. Definitely.
And you can have it's okay to have boundaries. Like if you're like, okay, I'm gonna give this person this try. They fucked up.
Yep.
All right, speak to them. You try it again. They're still messing up. It's a consistent thing where you feel disrespected on levels.
Yep.
You don't have to keep giving them those tries. You have the right for yourself, your well-being as a trans person, your mental health, to be like, okay, you know what? I don't have to engage with you.
Right, and then honestly,
if
you feel some type of way, because that is family, like, damn, I don't really want to just cut them off, you know? But if it's not doing well for you and your well-being, and you don't feel safe and you feel disrespected.
And some people got to grow up on their own path and then come back to you. You know, like you and your island, great. They're finally great. You guys come up and it's like, damn, I'm sorry, I didn't understand this. But you don't have to go through the journey with them sometimes. They got Google, they got things they could figure out and not disrespect you.
And it's so easy. Everything is just so accessible. It's just take that one person to just be like, all right, I'm missing out on this part of your life. I want to be in your life. All they got to do is look it up, or they just could come and talk to you. And exactly. I wouldn't mind if someone in my family just came up to me and was like, hey, so what is this? Or what would you like to do in this situation?
I'd rather you ask
things
me
like that.
100 times a day what my pronouns are than getting my pronouns wrong.
Remind you every minute, every
I will not
second.
be annoyed. Like, if you're like, hey, what's your pronouns? I would love that rather than hearing the wrong one and then knowing I told you, hey, that's the wrong one.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like I'm in that situation now. I haven't enforced using my pronouns or my name with my family, but they do know I go by Sean. They do know I use he, him, and they hear my friends saying he, him, and it should be enough. I feel like it because I already expressed it to you once, maybe more than once. I definitely spoke to them maybe more than once. So it's like, why can't we just at least work on it? It's like they're not trying at all.
Or not. I know that sometimes there's a difference between don't always apologize, which is true. But you can say, sorry, he. Yes. Sorry, they. Yes. Sorry, she. Sorry, your name. Whichever pronoun, ze, they, them, whatever it is that you go as or you identify as. I think it's just okay to move forward, but acknowledge it. Don't sit there and just sit there like, I said it, so that's it. Like, no! Rewind. You know you said it, Right. And I just want to also clarify, like, this happens with all people. It's not just like cisgender people fuck up trans people pronouns. People fuck up people's pronouns all the time in our community, outside of our community.
I still fuck up.
It's a lesson for all of us.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not gonna kill you to try.
All you have to do is ask. That's really just
how
it.
easy is
Respect.
that? You ain't even gotta pay money for that. You just gotta ask. Damn.
That's it.
Lucky you.
$3.99.